under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just gonna start the Zoom meeting real quick, because I
Okay.
think one of the bidders was going to join us when we awarded the bid, so.
Okay. With deference, we'll go right to you.
Yes,
Okay.
their public hearing is at 6:30, so we do need to start their thing at 6:30.
Well, it is 6:30 right now. Well, it's actually 6:33.
I guess 6:31, there's some compliment.
I didn't get that.
Is
Did you
it-
try
My
to-
clock.
Nah. I have 6:30 on my watch.
Camera in the surface.
Yeah, I usually have one that connects to the TV screen, but I forgot that one. Okay, we're good.
Okay. Starting the meeting, we see that there's no individuals here seeking public comment, so we'll go right to our public hearing for the application for an all alcohol liquor license for the Barre Patch. And we have representatives here from the Barre Patch, and Jessica, if you would like to, if there are any specifics that we have to ask or them, I don't see anyone here, either pro or, opposed to this license.
Right, so, for the public hearing, we can just open the public hearing, close the public hearing a minute
Well,
later.
I do not see anything, we have no
but,
written issues from anyone?
No, I haven't heard any feedback. We received all of the documents that's necessary to submit to the state. They submitted certified letters to their butters that they received from the assessor's office. So if they haven't shown up and they haven't written anything in, then I'm assuming everybody's going to be okay with it. Everybody was okay with the liquor license going there last time, so
Yeah, we even put it on Facebook too, so.
there you go. Going above and beyond to get the
Okay.
feedback.
Hi, Greg. So at any rate, we are in the public hearing for the application for the all alcohol liquor license, Greg. All materials that they had to complete have been reviewed by the administrative assistants and are in place. And so at this point, I would accept a motion to approve the application for the all liquor license for the Barre Patch.
Second. I'll make that motion.
We have a motion seconded.
Seconded, yeah.
We have a motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It looks like it's accomplished, and
Yep.
I would just ask that the board close the public hearing. Those in favor of closing the hearing?
Aye.
Okay, it looks like it's ready to go.
Yep, so we'll just send it off to the state, and then when we hear back, we'll let you know.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you,
very much.
guys.
Congratulations.
You're seated, so I'll let you see this time.
See you guys. See you.
Thanks.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Yeah. We have seen no public, Jason, I know that you're here to talk about the parking lot issue, and I think we'll go immediately to that issue and do our approval of minutes at a later time, just so that we can move through what is the most important part probably of our meeting this evening. So I know, John, you were present for the bid.
Yeah.
Jason, you were present for the bid opening, as you were Jessica, representing obviously the community as the Chief Procurement Officer. So that being said, if you want to just review basically the individuals, the data that you have, so we can move on from there.
Yes. So today we received 3 bids for the Ruggles Lane Elementary School parking lot improvement project. We received a bid from Precise Paving out of Brimfield, Palmer Paving out of Palmer, and PJ Keating out of Lunenburg. So at 4:30 today, Jason, John, and myself, we met to open the bids, review the bids, and now at this meeting, we're going to recommend one of the 3 companies to go forward with this project. So PJ Keating was the first bid that we opened. They completed all of the necessary forms, and their total project price came in at $333,196, or $333,196.50. Palmer Paving also completed all of the forms that they were required to. and their project came in at $425,080. And Precise Paving also submitted all of the correct forms, and their project price was $377,330. And since this was an invitation for bid, we have to go with the lowest, most responsive bidder, and all of the bidders were classified as the most responsive, but it came down to price, so PJ Keating wins the bid at $333,196.
John, hearing that you were there, Jason, you were there, I don't know if you got to ask any questions or that you have any information you'd like to share with us regarding the company that appears to be the lowest qualified bidder.
If you know anything about them, I mean, all three of those companies are big, they do good work, they do all kinds of work all over the state,
Mhm.
all kinds of municipalities, so I don't see any issue with any of them.
Any comments, other than obviously the price is well beyond what we had raised and appropriated at the annual town meeting, so that will require us to look at other funding sources to move this project forward.
Correct.
Jessica, I know that we spoke about using ARPA funds, and I know other members of the board, we've spoken about that would be a potential option. I know that there's some potential grant money that's out there that you would like to talk with us about?
Yes, so ARPA is going to be the biggest source of funding here. The only other source of funding that we have available to us today, and I know that the DPW Commission has spoken about using this money in other ways, but I do think that specifically for the sidewalk portion of this project, which is $30,625, we could look at using the winter recovery funds, because it can go to reconstructing sidewalks. So,
Did you check on that with the state, Jess? Because I put a phone call into our state aid engineer today, and he didn't get back to me. But in the paperwork that I saw, it did not include sidewalks.
so I did check, and it does include sidewalks and bike lanes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm suggesting to kind of have a piece of that pie, take a little bit less away from ARPA, but not totally prohibit the other project that you had intended for these funds.
What is the
We
total
have a-
amount of the funds?
We have a couple projects with
We
those
have
funds
a
already.
whole list of projects. with you.
Right,
I'd
I'd rather
also-
stay away from that.
I'd also be curious just to verify that those funds can be used for non-roadway projects where it's outside, it's not in the right of
I
way.
think we have enough roadway projects that we don't even have to think about using the money anywhere else.
You know, where it comes from similar sources to say like chapter 90, you know, I don't know that we could use chapter 90 for a
No.
park.
You cannot.
You can't.
Right, no, you can't.
So I'd wanna, if we were gonna look at that funding option, we'd have to carefully make sure that that it is an option. Or
Yeah.
I did put a
something
call into our state aid engineer today, but I did not get a phone call back from him.
Well,
Yeah.
obviously, there's a pool of money, and I know that there are many projects out there. Probably the pool isn't large enough no matter which way we look, so.
We're gonna deplete it, so.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to funding it substantially out of ARPA, because I don't think we have an option.
What's the amount we have set aside from town meeting?
104,000.
104,000, so it leaves us with,
But this isn't the total cost of the project. This
No,
is
no.
just the cost of the paving portion.
right, we'll be spending the grinding 30?
To be honest, off the top of my head, I don't remember.
It was almost about 20,000,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that seems.
19
about
and change.
Yeah,
right. I
so
don't
so
wanna
we,
give you the wrong number, right?
so we need like 250 towards this, but,
Yeah.
you know, we talked about ARPA funds doing something substantial with it, something long-term for the town, and,
Well,
you know,
this is it.
this fits the bill. I mean, it takes care of the parking lot for, you know,
30
hopefully,
years.
hopefully 30 years to come. It's a substantial thing that benefits the whole town, you know, certainly anyone that has students there, anyone that plays, you know, sports there, when we go to our elections there, and many other uses we have for the parking lot, so I think it's a smart way to use ARPA funds. So, you know, it's unexpected, but it's a clean hit, and I think ARPA funds, now that we've done the proper procurement, shouldn't have any problem being spent this way. You know, that was my hesitation, we talked about ARPA,
Mhm.
without doing this whole, having a hand tooling bid, we'd have got it kicked out of ARPA, we'd have been stuck holding the bag on it, which I didn't wanna do.
Well, I agree with you, Greg, as
So
far as it
I'd
being
make
a,
a motion, we go ahead and award this to PJ Keating, and we fund the balance that we don't have covered from the town meeting through ARPA.
I'd second that.
We have a motion made and seconded regarding the funding, the acceptance of the PJ Keating bid as well as the funding source. Further discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor?
All right?
Aye, it's unanimous. Jason, can you just keep us appraised of when they begin and so forth, and make sure that the school is, understands hopefully when the project is gonna start, if it's going to be wrapped up by the 30th? I think they're almost in school then, so
Yes.
there's probably some machinations one has to do in order to get the parking lots done, and,
I believe after talking with one of the representatives from PJ Keating was here at the bid, and I went up there and met him at the school after the bid
Oh,
opening.
okay.
So he wanted to view the project, go over a few things. I believe they are planning on starting Monday.
on Monday?
And they are, this is all tentative, depending on when they can get crews moved in, and all the
Mhm.
equipment and everything. I believe they're planning on starting Monday and have completion by Friday.
Okay. Well, they're a big operation. It's not like it's someone who doesn't have the facility to do the job. Well, I guess that's the best we could have hoped for, and the funding source is one that does allow us to do a community-based project that will be long-standing and something that will benefit, as Greg pointed out, our children, and even some of the children's children, if we're really lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks very much, Jason, appreciate your help on that, and I publicly, my thanks to the school and their work with us, in, providing ways in which, if we have to, we're gonna move in buses differently, if we don't want, if we have faculty park somewhere else, so the couple days we can let the thing set, probably we'll have to work around that for, maybe a week, but I think the back of the building has far less traffic.
It does.
And so it'll just be a lot of foot traffic, so that will be fine on the new pavement. So, thanks,
We'll make you aware.
okay, thanks to all for their help and assistance.
Did you ask for prices on a couple of the other projects for tonight too? At the last DPW meeting, you.
Yeah, you were gonna bring me some numbers for the.
Right, I got numbers for School Street North,
Yep.
overlay for Williamson Road, and I put
And
together
there's
some other,
a grind and overlay in School Street and
Right.
just an overlay for Williamstown.
just the overlay for Williamson Road.
Okay,
Um,
great.
So which, what do
You have those figures?
I have this.
Were you able to get the figures that she's
No,
talking about?
I put them together.
No, I just meant, I didn't know if you could get them into the minutes.
I can give them to her, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
So, the overlay that we spoke of for Williamson Road, is just a temporary overlay to get us through the winter, keep the road from coming apart. That was $40,500.
That's not bad.
No.
Doing about 1,500 feet, basically just
Up the
the
Bad
main
Hill?
part of the hill.
Yeah.
The other thing we spoke of at the DPW meeting was School Street North, that was a mill and pave. And this, again, this is another reason I talked to our state aid engineer today, but I didn't get a response back from him yet. Cause there is a section of sidewalk there that needs to be repaired, I just wanted to make sure that the funding would take care of that.
Mhm.
If not, everything is broke down, but the total cost of that project would be $141,900. And that goes from the center of town
Specifically, how much is sidewalk
to
work?
the bridge. Sidewalk work, so the curbing, at the current price, $8,400, and the concrete for the sidewalk is $4,500.
You're gonna change no, you won't change your way to the work, because this will make it nicer for you. Heading over to.
I go across 62 and
Well, I go 62
I
too.
avoid it all. Chapter 90 wouldn't cover the sidewalk there, would it?
Chapter 90 would not
So
cover that.
if that winter recovery money doesn't cover it, we're gonna have to fund that,
We would have to come up with the money for the sidewalk.
Which would be
which would probably be ARPA again. This
Yeah,
is,
well,
once again, it's the center,
It's like $13,000.
13,000.
12.9. So this is what we asked at the DPW meeting. I suggest we just briefly talk about that
I
here.
do have some other stuff, if you guys wanna talk about it while I'm here. The total we have for the RAP funding is $326,4638. So.
46, 26?
326.46.
26, 46.
38 cents, but I don't think that really.
Are you expecting to take all of these projects from this?
Yes,
Okay.
those two, anyways, and I did have, some other ideas, but again, obviously, whatever you guys think. There is also, Old Stage Road we've had a bunch of residents complain from Pleasant Street, basically up to
Oh, yeah,
Kyra Stevens Farm.
that's pretty
That
bad.
section road is
Bad.
very, very bad.
Can that just be a grind and overlay, is that gonna be
That's what that
reclaimed?
was gonna be, because that's got a good base, that was done probably 20-something years ago, and it is basically just the top, so,
And it gets a lot of, you know,
a lot of
equipment.
heavy truck traffic
It
up
does.
there. Mountain
So
trucks
grind
every
and
day.
top coat?
That project was $38,629. Another one that was just in my mind, again, we didn't really talk about this the other night, the section of Williamsville Road, seems how we're gonna do School Street to the bottom of the hill. The whole hill is gonna be complete, hopefully, next season, from the bottom to Farrington. There is one other section up there that was done probably, 25 years ago, and that road's in really rough shape from Farrington to, I believe it's house number like 733, basically the long straightaway,
Mhm.
From the top of the, from Farrington, it goes around
And
the
the
corner.
piece from Farrington out's still in pretty good shape, or is it,
Just that one section is very bad. So that was a mill and pay
And
as
what
well.
was the cost of that?
The cost of that was $79.85.
So are you within the budget of
That
the,
right there, uses up about 300,000 of it, and the other thing we had talked about, DPW was doing some crack sealing. So that would give us 26,000 towards doing crack sealing on, our other new roadways that we've done in the last
Okay.
5 years.
I don't want to necessarily bring this up, but I think it's something that a citizen has been at least sending me at numerous requests about, is the cutoff road, which goes off of 62.
Yep.
And I know that that is a bigger project probably than you want to, any of this.
Well, that road has been brought up multiple times on the paving list, and it has been against the board's wishes to pave that road.
I mean, the DPW commissions. yeah.
Well, the
No,
select
this
board.
board sets the paving, but no, I don't recall us really talking too heavy, because we've always had other priorities, we
Yeah.
go so far.
Right,
But we could put that on the list this year for next spring.
right.
And
The
that'd be
complaints they have.
that'd be in
right
chapter-
now
Chapter 90.
Chapter
is-
90 for that,
is,
yeah.
Just potholes in the dirt road.
Oh, I know.
Traffic, so.
Yeah.
It has not been graded since those complaints have happened, so
Mm.
once we get all these other projects.
Well, I think it's a project that if we can just say, it looks like it's on the list
Mhm.
for next spring or next summer.
Mhm.
Now,
I
you're,
thought though, you're going up Williamsville, then you're going all the way to Farrington, we're only leaving about a third of a mile of that road not touching it. Is it worth just doing the whole thing, so it's all done at once, or does it not really matter?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I know you didn't like that seam we put in over there.
Yeah, we don't like seams, obviously.
And
The
burn,
seams
but
we
obviously,
have, the
but
better.
now we're talking the seam.
Right, I was just, we have the funding
I know, I
available,
did.
so that's why, it has to be used by
Yeah.
next July.
are you confident that those numbers are pretty?
Those numbers are pretty accurate, that's
Okay.
at the current paving price of $81 a ton.
Mhm.
for next
How
year.
soon do we have to approve that? Because, I mean, we did talk about our DPW meeting, but it's not on the agenda here tonight,
Mhm.
unfortunately. So the whole idea of bringing it here was to talk about it publicly.
Well,
before
obviously,
we
we'll be,
approve it.
we'll be meeting this Tuesday, right after the first Tuesday of the month, because we won't be meeting Labor Day, but we'll
Yeah.
be meeting the very next day. So we certainly could put that, agenda it for that timeframe and
And
get,
if that's pushing it, I don't mind approving some of this tonight, but I would rather,
Right, well, I
Yeah,
think,
I'll-
like, the overlay of Williamsville and School Street has already been previously talked about.
right down at
Those-
DPW.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, just saying, if we want to get it going, I don't mind saying go ahead with those, and the other things, we leave more time.
well, I mean, certainly we have an other on the agenda, and we certainly can indicate under
Right,
that.
no, well, I don't mind going into all of it either. I mean, we certainly talked about, the only reason we put it off at DPW is to bring it here, so more
Yeah.
people can see what we're doing with it.
And plus, I didn't have the figures.
And we didn't have the figures to approve it. But with what we're talking about here, if we do the Williamsville Road overlay, the
Mhm.
School Street grind and
Mhm.
top coat, the Williamsville extension
Mhm.
to Farrington, and Old Stage with a grind and top coat,
People are gonna be very happy.
that's gonna take care of, and this is just using the winter funds.
Yeah, winter
it's just
funds.
winter
And possibly 13,000, 12,900 comes back out of that we have to fund for the sidewalk in
Yeah.
School Street.
I should have an answer tomorrow about that.
Right, and if need be, we can pull it out, then leaves, more money for crack sealing later, but I'd feel comfortable recommending that we make a motion, we approve all of those out of that,
Is that a motion?
out of that money.
Do you have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve those projects brought to us tonight by our DPW superintendent, and we have a motion and a seconded. Any further discussion?
I think the only one that's really new is the extension on Williamsville and Old Stage Road. They were the ones we hadn't really discussed as much in depth.
Right.
I'm definitely more comfortable with the other two, but
Well, knowing Old Stage as I do, I would say that that is, as
It's
you pointed
bad.
out.
It's, and that's the intent of these funds. They're
It's
giving
bad.
us some quick funds,
Yeah.
and we've got a short time to use them up, so we gotta get on them and use them. Our chapter 90 fund balance is probably still in excess of 600,000, or?
Significantly more than that, I would say, we're over $1 million.
Oh, that's right, 'cause we just get more money this year, so over $1 million in chapter 90, so we can still get into, the problem isn't the money we have coming in, the problem is finding time to get this many projects done. So we can talk about the next DPW meeting, and let people know in advance,
For the next
And
batch.
that we're gonna talk about road paving projects, and then at that meeting, we could go ahead and approve them, and pick our projects for this year to add to the list.
the only other real part of discussion, just from my perspective, the milling aspect of it, do we have a standing contract for
Yes.
milling? Okay, just as we do with paving, okay.
Right, because the only thing that hung us up at Ruggles was the hand tooling, and
Yeah.
was, he said Palmer was doing us a favor.
Well, what really hung
They-
us up was they wouldn't do it with
Palmer-
road grade. We couldn't use
Palmer was
our,
gonna do it for the bid price, all of it. And then when they were purchased out by a bigger company, the company said, nope, you gotta go with all the tooling price, and that's what really botched that up and why it went this way.
Oh, just wanted to
But
verify.
Clearly, we had a great number from Palmer before that, they just, it was,
Oh.
once they're sold out to somebody else, that's.
well, what they did was they said, your number that you have for asphalt in place was for the road, and
Right.
because it was a parking lot, they wouldn't give us the same
Right,
price.
but before they were bought out, the
Oh,
old company,
perhaps, yeah.
the old company would have given us the in-place road price and done the parking
Oh,
lot for
well,
us.
yeah,
That's why he said they were trying to do a favor for us, trying to do something nice for the town.
well,
But it just.
we
you
lost
can't-
out.
We just can't. You can't do it with, once it goes to the hand tooling price, we can't do it. That's why it went the way it did. If people are curious, I mean, that's why we had a great number, and that's why it went sideways, and it's.
It is
gonna
what it
get-
is.
It's gonna get done. That's what, exactly, I think what the ARPA funds are for. And,
And now we're getting it done, properly with bids in a way that doesn't leave the town liable to.
and it leaves
to any
ARPA funds
problems.
usable for it.
Yes.
Otherwise, the ARPA funds couldn't be used if we didn't get everything in a row, so.
So I think
Um,
we were just, in discussion, we have the motion seconded for these particular roadways to mill them, fix them, whatever, for the next several months. Further discussion before we vote? Those in favor?
All right,
Aye, that's a unanimous vote.
anything else, or is that it?
Nope, that was
Do you
it.
know if they ever contacted from the library, the fire department, to take the ladder up there to let them inspect the chimneys?
Yeah, that happened last week.
It
Okay,
happened
good,
last week.
because they're asking the board about it, just call the station.
No, I believe last week that we took care of that.
Excellent.
Inspection was,
They did indeed.
You took care of that.
You took care of that faithfully.
Wow. That's why I say there's never shortage of people that want to take the ladder truck for a spin.
Well, I don't know about that.
Oh, believe me, there's not.
We were sitting down there saying, oh, gosh, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Because the chimney inspectors were there. And of course, anyway, but that was a great help, and so,
made it happen.
absolutely.
How close together do you think the portions of Williamsville and School Street can be done to avoid seams? Do you think realistically with the part that's not gonna happen until next season, that we'd still end up with seams?
Yeah, we're gonna have to see.
Because we gotta redo what we do. in
Because
Williamsville.
they're going to, I would say this stuff.
Cause this has to be done pretty soon to,
It has to be
for the
spent
funds
before
to be-
July
yeah,
of next
okay.
year, so I believe as long as Palmer can fit it in,
Do it this
we'll
fall.
probably do
Yeah.
it this fall.
And then Williamsville could be, a year or two, depending on the pipe, okay.
Right.
Well, hopefully not, it's been
Hopefully-
3.
Hopefully,
Hopefully not, but,
It's been 3 in the making.
Yeah.
all the supply chain issues.
we still don't have
Well,
plans.
it's, yeah.
But at
And
least
that's- yeah.
this'll get people
Yep.
less displeased with the hill coming
Exactly.
down.
Yeah,
I agree with you
Because
100%.
It's
Yeah, it's rough.
horrible. You know, and when it's icy, you get some bumps and it's
It's
easy to
bad.
lose
Yeah.
control coming down there.
Yeah.
We haven't had many bad accidents, luckily there, but it's good.
I know he's talking about, we're gonna get complaints, we always do, about that swath of ice that's right down, halfway down Mechanic Street.
Yeah,
I know that that's some sort of a,
Drainage.
there's an old stone culvert that comes
Yeah.
down the hillside there, and I believe
sewer, and so late eighties, early
Yeah.
nineties, they dug through that. So it follows the sewer line where that old stone color
I got it.
crosses and it comes up.
Yeah.
out of the
And I know that you are diligent in the sanding and salting of that area, because there's that big preschool right there.
Yeah.
And we've got those buses that stop dead, right,
Yeah.
you know, and if you're behind them, good luck.
Good stuff, yeah.
It's
Yes.
like-
We've
it's
tried to
almost
take
at the
pretty
top
good
side
care
of
of it.
Circle Road, you know?
Mm.
We've done a couple of things to try to alleviate the
Yeah.
problem as much as we can, so
Yeah.
hopefully.
I thank you for your diligence in that on slippery days, but it's a
It's a
scary ride down Mechanic Street.
It's a bad spot.
It is. Okay. Thank you very much, Jason.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
All right, have a good night, thanks, Jay.
I think we're ready to take a look at minutes from various meetings. We have the July 5th, 2022 meeting minutes.
Have a good night.
See you guys, thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Have a motion on those minutes, please?
I move to approve the minutes for July 5th.
I was not here.
Okay, I would second that. Any further discussion, modifications, questions, anything? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Abstain?
an abstention from Mr. O'Sullivan. July 5th, Board of Selectmen executive session, approved but not for release. Again,
I move to approve but not release the minutes from the executive session on July 5th.
I would second that. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Abstain?
have one abstention. We have Thursday, July 21st, 6:30 PM, brief meeting. This was the original discussion of what we tried to take care of this evening.
Just the Zoom one.
Those in favor? Or I should say, those, need a
I move
motion?
to approve the minutes from the July 21st meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving along to August for meeting agenda minutes. Need a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the open meeting minutes from August 1st.
Second?
Listen, in attendance.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded, and those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
And then we have an executive session minutes for August 1st to be approved, but not for release. We have a motion, please?
I make a motion, we approve but not release August 1st executive session minutes.
And I'll second that. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, that cleans up the minutes. Thank you, Sandy, for those. As always, detail well done. Okay, I think we've been through, now we're at wage authorization for this evening. We have two wage authorizations requests, one from the police and one from the library.
I make a motion, we appoint police officer, part-time police officer Dylan Forss at $22.50 an hour.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 And we have, make a motion that, is this a new, or is this
A new hire,
It's a new hire
Catherine.
of Catherine Murray at $15.77 an hour, 15 hours per week to the library.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I would take a moment while we're on appointments. During our general appointment of everything, I didn't see the list, my name is in the list, so of course I can't appoint myself. So my appointment's invalid with the fire department as of now. I can't appoint myself, and you can't do it by yourself.
Oh, well, why,
It was Dylan, John wasn't there the day we
Oh,
did
okay,
that.
so you want us to redo the...
It's up to you,
Oh,
but
we can-
certainly mine's invalid at this point.
Oh, I don't want you to be invalid, Greg. Would
that
you
I get to do much
prepare for
down
the
there.
next meeting the appropriate documents so that we can revote those? Thank you.
Yep.
I don't want Mr. O'Sullivan to be invalid. It's a good point, too. Okay, other old business, anyone? Hearing none, I'd seek a motion to
No,
adjourn.
No,
You got something?
yeah, I wanted to talk about, or where we are with the matrix on our internet.
Matrix, that's the part of.
Oh, the DG Matrix, those folks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
matrix.
I can have an update for you for the, next meeting. I got an update a couple weeks ago, but I don't exactly remember at what point they were at. But they are making progress. And he keeps me updated once, probably every 2 months.
And
So
just to note, we did get messages from former Selectman Urban about the recordings and things.
Yep.
Obviously, it's not, there was no enforcement to it, there's no sign of it, it's not up to this board to enforce it. We've done our best to suggest people do it via Zoom. And I believe we've notified all committees that they should be recording and doing this. And if people have concerns that committees are not doing their diligence recording, they should certainly bring to those committees' attention and or bring it here in a public meeting and we could call it out. But it really, as the bylaw was passed, it wasn't up to this board to be an enforcement committee on that. And there is nothing for us to enforce as it was written. It was putting all committees on notice that the town wanted them to record these meetings so they could view them at their leisure. And these should be on, I think, 3 or 6 months they would be available for?
6 months, I think.
I mean, the meeting minutes still have to be recorded and kept as written minutes, but they have these available for, I think it was 6 months. And it's really up to those boards and committees to make sure that they're using at least Zoom or something to record them with, so they can turn them into the office and make sure that they get posted. I think we intend to do it on YouTube.
Yep.
That was
Yeah, we
planned.
don't post it on YouTube. There's somebody who is recording the meeting now. He's the one that puts it on YouTube.
Right.
That's not.
What
not us.
I did ask Jessica, because we also had conversations about this in the last several weeks, and we feel that working with our Geek Squad, whatever their name is, I don't really know, but
CM
that,
Geeks.
that having them provide a workshop so that all, department heads and people who are responsible for managing meetings have the opportunity to come and learn if what they don't understand,
Right.
so that we have provided, and if there's equipment that we need to provide them with, like laptops, or a special camera that would allow them to do Zoom and to, you know what I mean, have a panoramic view, at least of the board members.
A better camera and microphone
Yeah,
might be wise to
exactly.
get a couple
So-
setups.
So
It
what they're,
also could be beneficial to look into alternatives to Zoom for
yeah,
recording purposes, for things that aren't being broadcast necessarily
Yeah.
at the
I'm,
time.
I'm very familiar
able
with
to-
the WebEx, format, that's very, very useful and helpful. But whatever, I think if we bring in people who can provide us with not only some training, but also can say, this is the equipment the town should invest in.
One question on the infrastructure of it though, or the digital infrastructure, so to speak, is, the platform people would be able to reach them on. How are we providing that place? Do we have a file system? Are we just using YouTube, and do we have, links to, how are we providing
That's
access
a question
to
for our
those?
geeks people.
So we need
Yeah.
to
Well, we
establish
have
some structure of that.
So we have our IT folks who have given me recommendations for a microphone and a camera. But then we have our cable access folks. It's actually a one-man show, but he's absolutely excellent, who's recording the meeting right now, who's not a part of our IT squad. So there's two different parties. So he's the one that manages our YouTube account, and the CM Geeks manages our software and our hardware side of things.
My guess is the two of them could get together and decide what would be the best path for us to take.
I'm
I
sure
assume then there's a
digital
third
recording is
group
gonna
that would manage the town website? If we were
That
to-
would be up to the department and because every department has their own login for the website. I don't manage everybody's,
Mhm.
I manage some parts of the website, but I don't manage every department's page or committee
Well,
page.
something that'd be nice for the IT folks is that people could say, okay, I'm gonna go on the planning board side and be able to find a link from the planning board, but there should also be something from the Barre site that should link them to any videos they wanna do, which is difficult to find sometimes.
Right.
If we could open up a better link on our Barre homepage, that just is, link to videos, video of the meetings, and then they can pick the board, pick the meeting.
Or if the,
It's probably not difficult for them, it's just a simple chart of accounts and one directory goes into it, but
if we're able to back view on the calendar as well, someone could go to a meeting and click on a link there that would take them to it as another way people could
Right.
find what they're looking for.
Well, we probably need to do some, upgrade of our website anyway,
Yeah.
because there are some problems with it, generally speaking. So
Mhm.
I think that might be an ARPA thing, quite frankly, for the community to have better access in our
Better
website.
communication.
Yeah, I think, I envision videos, so some of these goes on the Barre page, you can either click a department, or just click videos of meetings, view meetings, and then from there, you could get departments, anyone that has them up there, and then once you're in that side, you pick the date.
Yeah.
It should be
Hit the video or just look at the minutes type
But
of
it,
thing.
but it still has to be
should be a
structured.
simple tree.
And menus have to be created,
Yeah,
and
it's a complex process.
yes, it
to-
is. It's not as simple, it's
Well,
not
it's
as simple.
simple enough for people who do it, and I could never do it. I'm
Okay.
not gonna- don't
Okay.
get me wrong.
Well, yeah,
But-
well, I'm just saying that it has
We
to
need
be
something.
restructured to get our website a little bit more user-friendly. I think
Yes.
user-friendly is the word. User-friendly for the people who have to post stuff on it, and also user-friendly for the people who are trying to access information from it. And I know that there are, like you say, there are people out there, and that's what they do, and they do it well. And we probably should seek some information to find groups that might wanna bid on a
Yeah.
process for theirs.
We definitely could. I just think that we should look at what this will cost and then also do a little bit of an analysis of, say, how many people are actually gonna take advantage of this. Like, if we're gonna do this for 5 people to be able to look at, the Felton Field Commission's videos, like,
It should be pretty bad.
I don't know if it's gonna be worth the investment of going that far.
Well, I
Like,
think-
we can set up the infrastructure for people to record the meetings, and then we can have it uploaded to a YouTube page, and then we can have a YouTube page, we can have a link on the front page of the website.
Well, that's the
and
thing, there are all
do
kinds
those
of
things,
options.
but-
I'm not looking to just spend money to spend money, but I think trying to find a way to ensure that we have very user-friendly websites, and that we can access the information that people generally seek, which is when are their meetings, what happened, at them, at least from minutes.
Mhm.
And you're right, I don't know how many how many hits we have on our website.
Right,
I have
I mean, I
no
think
idea.
people generally would look for the written minutes more. I typically go back for written minutes more than I would go back for a video, and that's talking for purposes of being able to do my job, because I can flip through a 5-page document in 30 seconds and just scan, or do a Google,
What this is
do a
about, though,
search.
Yeah.
what this is about is transparency, and that's what the people wanted overwhelmingly at that meeting,
The fact that it was
There's some
voted for
transparency.
is
almost unanimous.
important, yeah. The
It's-
other thing I would just say on some of that is, there have been issues for people finding, various documents at other points too, finding, the warrants for an upcoming election, or an upcoming town meeting. If they don't have the link specifically, it's hard to find on the website, so I think there are other issues with the structure of the website
Yeah.
that should be addressed anyway. So I don't know that it's just about
I struggle
revamping it to.
to find things. when I- when I
Yeah.
go on there, so
I think that
it's
our website definitely could be more user-friendly.
The
Yeah.
front end is not
For sure.
user friendly, and it sounds like the back
The
end
back
isn't the
end's not.
easiest to
No.
upload new stuff to,
It's-
so.
It's not, and I think this is a common issue among other communities, because I know we experience this in another community that I've worked for, and they use a whole different type of municipal software, so it's not like we're using one, there's not like one host that is just not great, like it's multiple
Right.
hosts that are not great, and that usually comes down to budget constraints of the community. Like, the towns and cities that have phenomenal websites have full-time staff that
Yeah,
manage the
manage
website all the
website,
time.
right.
And they have a ton of money to be able to keep that website updated, like Boston. I mean, they have a wonderful
Well,
website,
I
but,
think-
Well, I mean, Amherst has a wonderful
They-
website,
they do
but
have a-
they have a $70 million budget.
I think
And they have a
I think
full-time-
Groton has 2 full-time IT guys.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Amherst probably has a staff member where that's their job, is to do IT
Yeah.
communication.
well, anyway, I think we can begin to at least look at making it more user-friendly within our, I guess, economically
Yes.
And
situation.
maybe
that we
send a
can handle.
reminder out to department heads or
Yeah.
committees and everyone that they should be recording the meetings, they should have been since April.
Mhm.
as the
And
bylaws
let's set up
do.
the opportunity
Yeah.
to meet with our text people, with people who are interested. And if they're not doing anything now, for example, in the DPW meeting, I've talked with Shannon, I said, Shannon, you've gotta come to a meeting. You've gotta, because she feels she doesn't have the equipment, nor does she have the, tools right now to do her job as to the way we're requesting. So we could definitely, pull some of these folks in who feel a little bit, unsure. of
Yeah,
how to
I
do
know.
it.
And John Chase brought up concern at DPW that if we're using Zoom to record, that we gotta be careful. And I was trying to explain to him, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're not creating a Zoom meeting where people come and interact through Zoom, or board members are interacting through Zoom. We're just using it as a recording tool. The meeting is a live in-person meeting that
Be
people
here.
are welcome to attend. We're not talking about somebody Zooming in and needing to be audio and video recorded and seen by everybody in the room and at home. And you can make sure I'm not incorrect in this, but as long as we're not doing a Zoom meeting, we're doing a live meeting and using different avenues to record. It may be Zoom, it may be a camera.
Yep.
Or something else, it may be a laptop.
And then getting them posted in time.
But, right,
Yeah.
but I want to make sure people understand
Exactly.
we're not
Yeah.
held to the meeting laws of saying, oh, it's on Zoom, so everyone has to have access and see everyone, hear everyone. It's not on Zoom, it's a live meeting just like this. Well, this one is on camera, but I mean, it's gonna be a live meeting that we're just finding different avenues to record it, so we
Mhm.
can post it for people to look at after the fact, if that's what they choose.
And that's one reason we really should consider options other than Zoom to avoid any of that confusion and also to avoid the higher costs of using multiple, having multiple meetings at the same time on Zoom at
Mhm.
the same time.
Right.
So I think that's another,
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing to have the option to bring in people, like we've had, we've had guests on before who they didn't have any other option but to join via Zoom, so it's not bad to have the option, but you don't have to share the link with anybody.
Right,
If you're-
as long as that one person that comes in can be seen and heard,
Right.
it satisfies the meeting laws.
and there's some meetings where it's beneficial to have it live and to
Yeah.
allow remote participation, certainly still, even when it's not required.
And for that, we have Zoom, and you can open
Right.
Zoom up to whoever's there, make sure they have, and the public doesn't have to have the picture and sound.
Right.
Any members have to have
Yeah.
video and audio, that's where the law comes in. And I just had another portion that is slipping away from me. See, I go get sidetracked there and lost it. It was relevant, if I think,
I
but I'll
believe
bring it back up.
Senior moment.
No, just too much on my mind, yeah. It was recording.
Going.
Yeah, but my understanding is that it's almost more for record keeping than for live participation is the bylaw itself.
That's
Right.
what the
Yeah.
law was just to be for.
Right, because the open meeting law can always, they haven't made it a permanent, they haven't made video
I remember.
hybrid meetings as a permanent,
Yeah.
like, capacity of the open meeting law, they keep extending it, but at any time, the state legislature can vote that, remote participation doesn't qualify under the open meeting law.
We also talked about the possibility of grabbing a bunch of Chromebooks. A lot of towns are dumping, I looked at Municipal again, they're out there. You may have to buy a lot of 100, but you're gonna get them for short money. And then we could give Chromebooks out to all these committees and they could just record off their Chromebooks.
Well,
We talked about that
It all-
possibility
it-
for using
yeah,
as a
it all,
recording avenue.
Chromebooks, I mean, they're $300 for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean-
That could be a question for IT is, what are the minimums that we
Yeah.
should meet with a device
Yeah.
and how cheap
I'm
can
just
we get
saying, for
the
a
minimums
quick,
of it?
for a quick fix, they're out there, and if you contact some municipalities who's selling them, they might break a few loose out of their lot. Instead of selling a lot of 1,000 Chromebooks, they'll sell, 990 Chromebooks and let us
You
have
have
10.
Yeah, I mean,
Let us have 10 on the cheap
during
price,
the,
like a buck.
Mhm.
I mean, not everybody uses the Surface Pros either. I mean, we bought them for the purpose of working from home, but not everybody, obviously, nobody's working from home now, but, like, not everybody kept their Surface Pros either. Like, I use mine, cause I'm, that's another story, but not everybody uses these, like Sandy doesn't bring hers home, so we have a handful of them that we could give out.
There could be a
And
first.
Still.
that would be a first step to get to committee members and just show them how to
Nice
record
on
on
my
it.
Chromebook.
And, set it up, turn it on, you're recording.
Yeah.
And at least it gives people a way to start and make an effort.
Yeah. Well, I
Finding
think
routine.
sometimes, it's not that people won't, it might be that they can't because of lack of either training or
Oh, yeah,
comfort.
absolutely.
And so I think that if we make an effort to really provide them with
Mhm.
just, because like you say, we're not asking them to do a video maze here. We're asking them just to provide,
Right.
Just record it.
record
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so since the bylaw was passed last year, I sent out a letter to all boards and committees and whoever their staff person may be. I've also sent out a letter or survey requesting feedback on what services they need to make this happen. And I've also sent out step-by-step instructions on how to use this software. And I got, I think, one person,
That's what I was saying, no one's bothering to.
Yeah.
so.
So ultimately, we need to make sure we're at least giving the tools, the information of how to do it, and then if boards aren't following it, then it's up to the people to,
Complain.
or vote differently.
Or vote to say
Yep.
that you are sanctioned somehow.
And if people don't
It's-
agree with
it's-
this bylaw anymore, then it can be removed.
And I've thought of ways to possibly sanction, but it gets pretty extreme pretty fast. And the simplest thing is people can be removed from committees if they don't comply with bylaws.
Well,
And if anyone we appoint, no matter what the term is, if we find they're being derelict and not doing their job, we can remove and reappoint.
yeah,
And I have no problem reappointing anyone if they're not gonna make some attempt to do what the public's asked us to do. I would not hesitate to reappoint people.
I assume that's for appointed positions, not elected ones.
Well,
Yes.
we can only do appointed
Yeah.
positions, right? Elected, the people have the power.
Yeah.
You know, April comes around, they can do what they want.
Yep.
And pay attention. If it matters to them, then they can do something about it. If it really doesn't, then this will all go away quietly.
Yep. Okay. Are there any other business from anyone? Then I would accept a motion to adjourn.
I make that motion to adjourn?
Second?
We have a motion made and seconded to adjourn. I'll ask for who's in favor.
All right.
Aye.
Looks like we're voting to adjourn.
I just need.
John, thank you so much for representing the